Hey guys, it's Tweak here from the Mulligan, and today I'm going to be doing like a booster pack tutorial for Magic Kaladesh. So what I'm going to be trying to do with this series of videos is give you a bit of insight into how best to draft these boosters and what you're looking at when you open them. Drafting can be a bit tricky at times, and I know we're most of the way through the Kaladesh block now, but it doesn't mean you won't be seeing these boosters anymore, just because they'll be cropping up in the Revolt and possibly even some Chaos drafts that you guys might do. So without any further ado, let's get straight into this one. So Kaladesh was a very cool set in my opinion. I really like them coming back to artifacts. That theme was fantastic. So our first card is a 1-drop, select for inspection. It happens at instant speed and it's return target tap creature to its owner's hand, scry 1. So this is a nice card in that it sort of replaces itself with the scry. It's going to let us sort of filter out any junk that we might end up with. It only costs 1, so it's excellent early in the game when you're trying to deal with a really aggressive deck, or even late in the game when you're trying to keep yourself alive. The next card is Catharic Reunion. Now this one's a bit tricky in that it's discard 2 cards. Now it's not bad in the draft format because you'll be able to throw away lands late in the game that you might not need, or early in the game you might be able to throw away just general junk that you might have in your deck as far as draft is concerned, or even cards that have reanimation effects. So next up is Fragmentize. It's 1 white, happens at sorcery speed, and it's destroy target artifact or enchantment with converted mana cost 4 or less. Now this card is great for dealing with Smuggler's Copter and any sort of vehicles, because a lot of them fall into that 4 or less range. So for 1 mana, you can just deal with a problem that's on the opponent's side of the field. It also helps with enchantments that might tie up your creatures with pacifism effects, so you can free your creature and get back into attacking. Next up is Failed Inspection. It's counter target spell, draw a card, then discard a card for 2 colourless and 2 blue. Happens at instant speed. Now this isn't a bad counter spell, lets you filter through your cards a bit better to replace it. It is 4 mana, so it's a bit on the expensive side, but if you're sort of locked into blue, it's not a bad card around turn 4 or 5 to deal with their bomb, because when we're drafting, often we're looking at a bomb card that we need to deal with. Now next up is Cow Prowler. It's a 6/6 for 4 and 2 green. Now there's nothing too special about this card. It's probably a late pick for just about everyone. It's a nice body. It can get aggressive, it can crew any vehicle that you can think of. So there's not a lot to say about this card. If you get it handed late and it's in your colours, that's great, but you wouldn't be looking at it early. Now next up is Live Fast. So for 2 colourless and a black, you draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, and get 2 energy at sorcery speed. Now this isn't too bad. You lose 2 life, but you get that 2 energy and you draw 2 cards. Usually with these sort of effects, you're looking at losing a life to draw a card, so the extra 2 energy on top is a plus. Even if you aren't playing an energy deck, you might think about running this. Alright, next up is Glint Sleeve Artisan. He's 2/2 for 2 colourless and a white, has Fabricate 1. Now versatility is definitely the name of the game. You want cards that give you options, so this guy can either come down as a 3/3 or can come down as a 2/2 himself and create a 1/1. Now this is great if you're trying to go wide, if you need a chump blocker, or you need something to crew that vehicle, or if you just need to get above its opponent's 2/2s, you can look at turning this into a 3/3. Personally, I like to create the servos, but as the situation sort of needs, you'll play this card. Now next up is Eager Construct. It's a 2/2 for 2. When it enters the battlefield, each player may scry 1. I don't really care for this card in that it's giving the card advantage to your opponent as well. You want to do things that help you, and there are definitely better things that happen at that 2 slot for you. If you get this past late and you're going with like a Metalwork Colossus style build, you might throw this in just to get his cost down, but I wouldn't be looking at taking this too early. Now next up is Jukhara Peafowl. It's a 2/4 for 4, and for 1 blue, you can give it flying until the end of turn. So this card isn't too great either. It's not a bad pick if it's in your colours. but it's not going to do as much work for you as much as some of the other artifact creatures are. There are some great ones in green and black, whereas this is probably not serving as much utility in blue. Definitely don't underrate evasion though with that flying. Being able to swing in with 2 unanswered damage a turn can win you the game. It's just not a great card. So next up we've got Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot. So for 2 colourless, it enters the battlefield and you draw a card and you lose a life. So there's that effect I was talking about earlier. And then for 2 colourless and a black, you destroy Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot, draw a card and lose a life. So again, this card is good. It even if you're off colour, it's not too bad just for its effect. Definitely look at grabbing it if you're in black, but it wouldn't be my first pick. Oop, grab 2 away there. So next, or our first uncommon card, we'll be looking at Chief of the Foundry. So for 3 colours, other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. So if you manage to get into that artifact creature themed style deck, this isn't a bad pull. It's probably not going to do as much work for you being a 2/3 for 3, but if you're playing a lot of artifact creatures, definitely grab it. Next up is Sequestered Stash. So this is another one that I will be trying to grab late. You can tap it to add a colourless mana to your mana pool, and then pay 4, tap it, sacrifice Sequestered Stash, put the top 5 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you may put an artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library. So this is great if you're, you know you're going to run into trouble with cards that are going to remove your artifacts, so that that 1 mana one that we were talking about before, Fragmentize. It's sort of more a sideboard card rather than a cut it in and play it straight away. I wouldn't be grabbing it out of this pack, but definitely one to look at later. So next we've got is A the Meltdown. So I really like this card. It's a colourless and a blue. It's an enchantment aura with flash. So you can attach it to a creature or a vehicle, which is, you know, very powerful in this vehicle heavy format. And when it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy, and enchanted permanent gets -4, -0. So the flash really makes this card. The energy is a bonus, but also the addition of being able to stack it onto a vehicle is great. Any of the trains, this is great to chuck on. You can do it in your opponent's turn, so they make a committed attack that isn't great for them. You negate that attack, and then you get back in for some damage. So our rare for the pack is Bristling Hydra. So this is a very good card. It's 2 colourless and 2 green. When it enters the battlefield, you get 3 energy, and you can pay 3 energy to put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it gains hexproof until end of turn. Now this is fantastic for any spot removal you're going to run into. You can just keep that Hydra alive and keep it pumping in. 4/3 for 4 isn't bad, but you can straight away pump it up to a 5/4, so definitely a great pick there. And we've got a Forest and a Servo token to end this pack.
And so my pick for this pack is Bristling Hydra. The 4/3 for 4 with the ability to pump it up to a 5/4 is just too good to pass up. And apart from it being a quality value card, we just don't want any of our opponents to be able to play it, especially if they're in an energy or going into an energy sort of style themselves. So easy pick for that one, guys, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.